Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dwarf Fortress 2014, Anvilquested, and welcome back to the chert walls of our fortress. You'll notice a lot has changed. We've got the outdoor-indoor farm ready to go. I just need to attach the bridge to a lever and then pull it to open it, and I've got the seeds already being stored down here for outdoor plants, and I'm also growing things. Now, this might seem a little odd to you, but the indoor plants that are meant to be grown underground, where there's no such thing as seasons and the temperature is always the same, are seasonal, meaning, with the exception of plant helmets, some plants grow in certain seasons and some don't. However, outdoor plants, which you would assume have a lot of variety based on the season, sometimes it snows, sometimes it's hot, doesn't matter. You can grow an outdoor plant in any season for whatever reason. I don't get it at all, but I'm taking advantage of it. So you'll notice that I have the seeds of a number of different things, all the way from fisherberries at the top down to turnip plants at the bottom. There's a bunch of other stuff I do not have seeds for. I just went down the list. I am literally growing everything on this list that I can one season. And it took, I think, 4 of the plots to get through all of them. But I'm just going to go through all the seeds that I have. And then later on, I'll look and see which plants I have the most seeds of, and those will be the ones I focus on. But right now, I'm just trying to go for variety. Another thing is, in a previous episode's comments, I was told that this stuff here, that just kind of appears miraculously in the mountain biome, the mountain avens cotton grass, I was told that I can harvest it. But I don't see any way that I can actually do that. I've had my dwarves go to gather plants, and they do nothing. They do not. I'll show you right here. So let's go designate. Let's go gather plants. It's P. And we move over here. Nothing. I can't gather them. So I don't know if someone could tell me how to harvest them. I'd be happy to. It seems like something called cotton grass would be a good thing to make cloth out of. So I wish I could harvest it, but right now it looks like I cannot. So that's the story there. So let's go and take a look at our highlighted dwarf of the episode. We now have 87 dwarves. We had 2 migrant waves between this episode and last episode. I'll show you everybody in just a moment. But for right now, we are going to do a profile on 76, who is Cameron. All right. Let's see here. Q-C-A-M. There he is. Cameron. Cameron is married to Crazy Man. And Cameron is the mother. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Bumchafes is Cameron's mother. And Azrael is Cameron's father. So we've got an entire family here in the fortress. In fact, if you look down here, Lucia Silveraxe is Cameron's aunt. So there's a lot of relatives here. Anyone else? His cousin is Jan, Dr. Quacksalver, Lilu Multipass, and Akiasta. They are all related, and Captain Communism is on friendly terms with him. Okay, so Cameron is a he, so that means Crazy Man, despite the name, is a she. So Cameron has been quite content. He's married to Crazy Man. He's a son of Bumchafes and Azrael. He's 24 years old, so he's relatively young for the dwarves in our fortress. He is incredibly muscular. His eyes are copper. His sideburns are clean shaven. His very long mustache is neatly combed. His long beard is neatly combed. His long hair is braided. He has a broad square chin. His nose bridge is slightly convex. His hair is chestnut. His skin is copper. He is mighty and almost never sick, but he is very flimsy. He likes tetrahedrite. Oh, I wish we had some here. That's where you get copper and silver from. Steel, clear diamond, crystal glass, donkey leather, crossbows, leggings, and elk for their grace. When possible, he prefers to consume blueberry wine and pearl millet flour. He absolutely detests rats. He has very good intuition, but he has a shortage of patience and poor creativity. He personally really respects commerce and those that engage in trade. He prefers a noisy, bustling life to boring days without activity. He does not care about fairness and doesn't care about art one way or another. He dreams of crafting a masterwork someday. Well, doesn't everyone? So that's Cameron. And finally, we're finding a dwarf that actually has relations in the fortress. That's really cool. Alright, so let's take a look at all of our newbies. Let's do it by migration wave. So the last two waves have been, first in autumn, we received Akiasta, Bromine Gear, Brunor Battlehammer, Kogius, Daguril, Dr. Quacksalver, Crom the Historian, Thelron Donnerfaust, Tulmak, and Urist Silverharp. And then in the spring of 152, we received Cameron, Crazy Man, Crow Guy, Dr. Clinical, Bango Wolf, Fazael, Gabdora, Garnier, Red Sword, Girai, Gotrek, Gurnison. Wow, it's a lot of G's. A lot of G's in a very short amount of time. Infinite, Jan, K54, Narian Wolf, Oscar Benitez, Queen of Wolves, Raven, Ronan Copperblade, Sanctum Stone, Sir Red Wolf, The Fun Dwarf, Tim Tebow, and Young Guan Yu. And as usual, none of them came with any skill worth mentioning whatsoever. It's kind of annoying to me. Like, you'd expect it at least one out of every 20 of your migrants would be like really good at something, just to mix it up, you know, just make them an expert at something. But no, apparently not. They're all relatively unskilled. The highest skill we have in anything, it looks like, is 2. So that's where it stands. Militarily, we do have some good news though. Gotrek Gurnison is a mace dwarf. Narian Wolf and Oscar Benitez are both axe dwarves. And if you look at Oscar here, he has 86 kills. Now granted, they're all animals. Peregrine falcons, swans, giant weasels. But still, he's the only experienced military dwarf our fort has ever seen. And luckily for us, he's an axe dwarf because I need an axe dwarf squad at some point. I'm going to call them my Varangians. And Oscar here will be their leader. Why does it say pikeman? But another thing I wanted to show you real quick is if you look at our squads, you'll automatically see what a difference training makes. Remember now, Gordash's guerrillas at the beginning had no skill whatsoever, hardly. Well, now look at them. In all of their military skills, that's discipline, biter, dodger, fighter, kicker, striker, wrestler, they are gaining skill. Also, armor user and shield user a bit more slowly. And of course, in Marksdorf, they're moving up quite a bit. Whereas Bumshave's bandits, who just recently started training and as a result haven't had as much time, they're still a lot lower. But you can tell already they're gaining a lot of skill and experience in these areas. They don't have any shield or armor use because they are currently not wearing shields or armor. But we'll fix that in later episodes. So right now our best Marksdorf is Gordosh. He is level 11, which means he is a great Marksdorf. And everyone in his squad seems to be doing better than poor old Bumshaves, who, having led the group of newbies, is not gaining much in the way of skill on his own. And, uh-oh, Orthea does not have anything on her feet. That's a real problem. Apparently I did set them up for her, so she needs some socks, and she needs... well, she needs a lot of stuff, actually. They all do. So they're all missing the mittens, the hoods, and the backpacks. And Gordosh is missing ammunition. Ooh, but he's got some high-class iron high boots. You can tell when they have that little circle with the little lines coming out of it, that means it's a really good item. Not the best. I don't think that's the best, but it's really good. All right. Well, that's that. That's our newbies. Not what I want. Let's see what else has been going on lately, folks. Well, as I showed you, the farm here is working out. And, oh, it looks like all the poults have grown up. Well, that's good. Let's do something about that. I need 3 hens. So let's take this hen, and this hen. Okay, and let's create some zones here now. Hen pasture. Let's find that hen. There it is. Put you in there. Done. Okay. Pen pasture. Hen numero dos. In there. And another one. All right. Excellent. Excellent. So we now have 6, egg-laying chambers. But now, the tough part. This is the part that happens. It's going to happen every new generation. The hens are very useful. They lay eggs for food. They make babies for leather. But the gobblers, unfortunately, aren't worth much. So we are going to be killing them for their leather, which is very important to us. I do want to keep... Okay, here's one gobbler here. Oh, so we have 2 gobblers. I do want to keep 2 of them alive in case one should die of old age or sickness or something along those lines. Alright, so that's set up. Our dogs are doing well, and they're being trained into war dogs. We do need a cat. If we can't get one in trade route, we're going to have to request one. I've got my food stockpile here. And then I've got my 2 kitchens and my 2 stills set up here. Not sure what to do with these yet. I just dug them out. I'm trying to differentiate my stockpiles, as you can see. Oh, it looks like there is a peahen. Let's put him... Could be a peacock. No, it's probably a peahen, because the tail's not that big. Let's just make sure that we have everything here that we need to. It might be just that they haven't been... No, here we go. So we have a stray keet, a guinea cock, a yak calf. Well, the yak calf needs to go up here. So, because he has to graze. We actually have quite a few grazing animals, which means I should probably dig into the caverns to get some underground grass growing, because if a dragon or a flying enemy comes, all of these guys are gone. And that's okay for the most part, but some of them have names, they're pets, and I don't want their owners to go wackadoo on me. So let's see here. Alright, let's just see if this is set up already. It is. Okay, first of all, let me just make sure it's the right thing. So yeah, that's the farm cover. This up here is the most important one, the floodgate. I'll show you that in a minute, but that one should probably not be pulled unnecessarily. Otherwise, hilarity will ensue. But let's pull this. And the benefit now is you'll see the farm shall be uncovered. Yep, there it is. Okay, so now the sunlight can go down for purely RP reasons and feed our farms. So let's talk about the floodgate real quick. Oh, he's shooting. Look at, they're practicing. That's awesome. So we've got our cistern all taken care of, but it was hard. Harder than I expected. And here's why. I don't know if there was an error in this version of the game. I should pause it. I don't know if there was an error or if something's fundamentally been changed in terms of how water flow works, but the way it used to work is when water went down a Z level, it gathered water pressure. And as a result, it wanted to go back up. So for example, if water fell 10 Z levels, the water pressure would want to push it up 9. So if you, let's say, had a cistern, or you wanted a well in your -5 floor, so 5 floors down, and you take water from the surface down there, you would have to find some way of stopping that water flow. Otherwise, the water would flood out and flood your fortress because it would want to go up to the surface again. That didn't happen here. I thought that it was. So what happened was I created this floodgate and I opened it up. This is the bottom of my cistern. And it filled up to 7, which is the highest it'll go, but then it stopped. It did not fill up the next highest one. So it was as if the water pressure was all gone. It only filled up 1 level. I expected it to keep filling up toward the top until I closed the floodgate. So I dismantled the floodgate's lever, and as a kind of a quick fix, I created a new entrance here with a new floodgate, which is 2 levels up, basically the level directly underneath the wells themselves. And so I filled it up that way. So now I have 2 full levels of water and then 1 partially filled level. So the reason I do that, I don't know if it has any effect whatsoever on gameplay, but if you'll notice, if you look at it here, it says water. But if you go to the bottom, it says a dusting of mud. So if I were just to have filled up the bottom floor, it might have been muddy water, and I don't want my dwarves drinking muddy water. So the mud is kind of filtering to the bottom, and this is just pure clean water for them to drink. You'll see how I did it. I basically dug into the waterfall here, and then dug a trench here so my dwarf could get away. Then I locked the door, and then I built a wall to protect it. So I have all my wells set up except for one. I need another rope, unfortunately. But I've already set this as a water gathering space, so the dwarves should start using it. I've also smoothed out most of the living area. Most everybody has a room. Not entirely everyone, but most everyone. I do have some legends, so there's a couple moods while you guys were gone. In fact, now that it looks like the dining hall is completely smoothed out, I'm going to start smoothing out the rest of this as well. Okay. And here. This one's, I think, complete in terms of being built. So it just needs to be smoothed out. Okay. And that's good for now. I'll let my engravers get on that before I move on. So yeah, we have some new legends. So first of all, let's look and see. I've also decided that my military captains, because they are nobles, they also will get the larger rooms. So I think on a different floor one of these days, I'm going to have to build more of these larger rooms because we're going to have a lot more legends and militia captains than we currently have rooms for. But right now, we have... This room here belongs to Morin, who is a legendary gem setter, and Morin is married to Ara. The spouses just get the big rooms as a perk of being married to a legend. And Lucia Silveraxe has this one because she's a legend as well. Then we have Bumchafes, who's married to Azrael, and Gordosh. They both have their own legendary rooms too. So the first legendary item I want to show you is Zelthidfesh. I think I might have already showed that in a previous video, but it is it's a throne. It's of the highest quality, encrusted with square-cut gray chalcedonies and encircled with bands of mule bone. The object menaces with spikes of chert. Dwarves like creating menacing spikes on things. Then up here we have some new stuff. We've already seen Sazargasis Dalzatsalir, but now we have Ilrom Zokun. This is what I believe Morin put together. And it's a perfect clear tourmaline. So sometimes if they have a mood, instead of making an item, they'll just carve a perfect gem. So it's a perfect clear tourmaline, and it menaces with spikes of clear tourmaline. I wish it would tell you when you looked at the artifact who made it. That would be really cool. Like, this one I think it does because there's a design on it. I think so. No, actually it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, they don't tell you who made them, which kind of sucks. And then we have Tare Mokun. Tare Mokun is a pearwood blowgun. Dwarves can't use blowguns, unfortunately, otherwise I would probably take it out into battle, but it is a pearwood blowgun. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is studded with iron, decorated with pearwood, and encircled with bands of bayberry wood and oval-cut indigo tourmalines. This object is adorned with hanging rings of chert and menaces with spikes of dog leather. On the item is an image of 2 skunk men in cherry wood. Good thing we don't have those at our fort, otherwise it would smell probably a lot worse than it does anyway. And on the item is an image of faded shrines, the pearwood blowgun, and indigo tourmalines. So just to give you an idea about this, I know when I did the amulet, it was amuletception or figurineception, but this is actually blowgunception because this is a blowgun that on itself is an image of itself. I know, right? Yo, dog, I heard you like blowguns, so I put a blowgun on your blowgun so you can blow while you... well, blow, I guess. But there we go. I wish it would say who made them, though. That kind of pisses me off a little bit that it doesn't, but I know that Lucia Silveraxe did one of them. Let's see here. Lucia Silveraxe. Mateos, what's your deal? Oh, your legs are uncovered. Uh-oh. You're going around flashing everybody, Mateos. Stop it. But Lucia, where are you, Lucia? Are you in a squad? Yeah, actually, I think you are. Okay, Lucia Silveraxe. You are a legendary mason, so you're the one who is responsible for the throne. So then we have Morin. Morin is a legendary gem setter, so he's responsible for the perfect tourmaline. Now, the blowgun, I can't tell you who's responsible for it because it was there's different kinds of moods, and this one was, I believe, a sneaky mood or something where you don't actually become a legend when you complete it. Let's see here. Look at our legends. Argyle is a legendary miner. Legendary carpenter. Lucia, of course, legendary mason. Marcus is legendary miner as well. Maureen is a legendary gem setter. Surreal is a legendary miner. And Ursula is a legendary mason and stonecrafter. So yeah, I forget who it was who created that item. I wish the game would tell me. I can probably find out in Legends mode. But that did not make them a legend. And this episode is already going a little long, but there's one more thing I want to show you. Let me just... Did I show you all the slabs? I forget if I did or not. So we have Haas. I might have not shown Haas. So this is a well-crafted shirt memorial to Haas Cadolvuthil. The slab reads, in memory of Haas Cadolvuthil, born 107, died of thirst in the year 151. So he was 44 years old. He was a devoted husband and a friend of buzzards. And Azrael, did we look at Azrael? He is united with Tin Glaze, devoted father and husband, slayed by the giant Wolverine. That's a shame. So yeah, it doesn't... It bugs me. It kind of bugs me. It doesn't tell you who actually made it. Maybe... No. Oh well. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you before the episode ends, I know it's going long, is we've engraved the first 2 years of our engraving pillars. So every year I'm going to engrave 2 pillars at the beginning of the following year. So we're at the beginning of year 3, so year 1 and year 2 have been engraved. So I just want to kind of show you what we're dealing with here. So here we have an image of Raval, the escorted blanket, the deity of fortresses, depicted as a female dwarf by Zygomantis II Augustus. Raval is engraving. So it's an engraving of a god who is engraving. There's a lot of inception in this fortress. Next we have an image of dwarves by Yatah Ali. A little basic, you know, Yatah Ali's going to get better, I'm sure, in the future. Then we have a well-designed image of a tapered baguette-cut gem by Ray Joseph. Good job, Ray. And then we have a well-crafted Urst-Mikado rendition of a masterfully designed image of a totem. The image is the symbol of the Mountain of Distraction, a local dwarven government. So this is relevant for 2 reasons. One, the symbol of our government, that is the starting 7 who founded this fortress, is a totem. And just so you know, a totem is a skull. It's like a stick coming out of the ground with a skull on it. So that's a little bit morbid, but that's our symbol, I guess. The next thing is... it's an engraving of an image by Urst-Mikado. So, yeah. He didn't just engrave the totem symbol. He engraved the image of it. Okay, so moving down to the next year. A finely designed image of a dimple cup by Wife of Balder. Engraved on the wall is a masterfully designed image of Leda Rhyming Wonders. Now, I'm going to write this down, of course, and we're going to go into this in adventure mode or legends mode soon, but the elf and Ospoon Winter Squid, the Cyclopean Eagle a Rock by Urst-Mikado. Ospoon is striking down Leda. The artwork relates to the killing of Leda by Ospoon in the Grand Walls in 30. Now, here's another thing that I'm just disappointed in. Our fortress sits on 2 different biomes, right? The jungles of something or other and the Great Walls, the mountains. But it seems like all of the artwork that we're designing is for the mountains. So I think it's going to get a little samey because there's not much you can do in the mountains. Most of the mountains aren't even traversable. If we were to instead have chosen the jungle, it would have probably had more history. But instead, it looks like all the history is going to be of the Great Walls. And that's fine. I just wish it would blend both of them since we're on both of them, but just my little gripe. A well-designed image of toads by the Etruscan. Good job, Etruscan. A well-designed image of Judge Wing's The Churt Throne. So this is a engraving of our artifact that is on display in our living floor by Zygomantis. A superiorly designed image of Amane Roar Opened, the Elf, and Tunem Strength Fords, the Barbarian of Hooves, the Rock, by Wife of Balder. Oh god. Amane is cringing. Tunem is striking a menacing pose. The artwork relates to the tearing off of Amane's tongue by the Rock. Ugh. Tunem. In 69, during the duel of the Elf and the Rock. Doesn't say where. Okay, well, that's quite morbid. Engraved on the wall is an image of 2 tall crosses by Zygomantis to Augustus. So apparently he's a Christian dwarf. And here's Urus Mikado is doing an image of our artifact Fated Shrines, the Pearwood Blowgun, whom we don't know who is the creator of it. Okay, this is Yawo Shortbeard, the elf. Yeah, he's an elf, so no wonder he has a short beard. Actually, shot beard, I'm sorry. And Izeg Callskunk, the Willful Yell, the Rock. Hey, remember? The Willful Yell, Izeg Callskunk, we have another image of him on one of our, I think it was on the our first artifact. It's the Rock killing a dwarf. So now we have the same guy. We have an artwork of him in our Hall of Memories where he is killing an elf in 93. So that's a historical figure that we've already looked at. And I think I forgot a couple up here. The Etruscan did our symbol, yep. Okay. Roval, the Escorted Blanket, the Deity of Fortresses, as a female dwarf, and Dwarves by Zygomantis to Augustus, the dwarves are praying. So I'm getting kind of a theme here. Zygomantis is a religious dude, and he likes to do things religiously. A finely designed image of Peak Siege, the perfect clear tourmaline. So Urus Mikado did an engraving of our other artifact. And then here's a finely designed image of a pick by Wife of Balder. And I thought there was something... I must have been mistaken. I thought there was one of our leaders, but I guess I was wrong on that one. So yeah, those are our first 2 years of engravings. I'm actually a bit pleasantly surprised. They're a bit more diverse and varied than I'm used to in previous campaigns. Maybe Toady somehow updated the system in this latest version, because normally it's just like the founding of the fortress 50 times over, but this one is cool. It's doing our artifacts, which is really cool. I'm really excited about that. I wish it would say who did the artifact. But, so if this goes beyond 6 years, which it may, then I will simply expand this room. And how it's going to work is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, and so on and so forth. So alright, there we go. Thanks for watching. Once again, I am Marcus Aurelius. Have a good one.